one more, and then we're going to get to our guest. So we have a good guest tonight. You're going to be interested to hear what he has to say. So, the Oregon Department of Education, like many state departments of education, very worried because minority group test scores are not good. Okay? So, instead of basically concentrating on lifting the test scores by giving minority children who are at risk more attention and tutoring, they're going to knock out the courses. So in Oregon, they may put in something called a pathway to equitable math instruction. Quote, the class is described as an integrated approach to mathematics that centers Black, Latinx, and multilingual students, providing opportunities for ongoing self-reflection as they seek to develop an anti-racist math practice. So forget about math. Not doing that. We're doing, the reason you don't know math is because society's racist. And in any math problem, there wouldn't be a right or wrong answer. Any answer that you put down is right. Jesus. Now, the course guide says this, quote, white supremacy culture infiltrates math classrooms and everyday teacher actions. Coupled with the beliefs that underlie these actions, they perpetuate educational harm on Black, Latinx, and multilingual students, denying them full access to the world of mathematics. This is just certifiably insane. So you're not going to teach minority children anymore. You're going to tell them they're victims of a racist culture so they don't have to learn math or English or history or anything. Joining us now, Jonathan Butcher. He is a Skillman Fellow in Education at the Heritage Foundation, coming to us from Greenville, South Carolina. This can't surprise you, Mr. Butcher, because it's happening all over the country, is it not?
That's right. It is part of a cultural shift going on in our schools right now. This equitable math can be linked to what's going on in California with the new ethnic studies program. Same things are happening in North Carolina with social studies, in Illinois with a teacher training certification program. And they're connected by the ideas that you just outlined, right? That there is no authentic truth, that finding the facts don't matter, that experience matters more. And like you said, that teachers train students for resistance. They're being trained to be revolutionaries, effectively. And here, even in the case of math.
So what this is going to do ultimately is turn out a bunch of American children who don't know anything. Is that correct?
Well, and not just with math, but it's turning math from a technical skill into an issue of civics or even ethics, which transforms us from having a shared American culture, from having a shared experience where we treat people according to character, into something where we are divided by tribes and where we have to treat people differently according to their tribe, and that America really doesn't belong to any of us. It's a scary thing. This is a cultural shift that's been ongoing now, especially in the past few years. So it should be troubling really to everyone, and not just because of the focus away from facts.
Okay, but it isn't troubling to everyone because number one, everyone doesn't know about it because the media isn't covering it. And number two, if you oppose this insanity, say you were in Portland, Oregon, and you went into the public school board and said, look, this is crazy. I don't want my kid not to know any math. I want you to teach my child traditional math. You'd be branded a racist. You'd be called a racist if you did that. So the people who oppose it, many of them are frightened, and then the others don't know because it's not covered by the media. Am I wrong?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I would add to that that what we can do is say that those who are promoting these ideas in its critical race theory is what is driving this equitable math, as well as what I mentioned from North Carolina and California. But what we can say to them is that these critical theorists have abandoned what the civil rights movement accomplished, and that's what they're after. They actually say outright that the civil rights movement was too slow, and even that our representative government doesn't move fast enough, according to them. And the only way that their objectives of disrupting our culture can happen is through this disruption. It's through a complete departure from our shared experience of values, independent value by persons, and civil society.
Okay, but the President of the United States is encouraging this by his equity program. You say tribes, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay. Well, he's saying my administration is going to favor certain people. We're going to give them things that other people don't get in America because this is equity, right?
Well, and that's why the 1776 Commission under the Trump administration and the 1619 Project from the New York Times, that debate is very important. It's not just about history and civics. It's about shared ideas. It's about what it means for America to have a shared identity. And when the Biden administration took the 1776 Commission's report and essentially made it disappear shortly after President Biden took office, that's a cultural statement, right? This isn't an issue of history or inaccuracy. This is an issue of how we define what our nation means to each of us.
Look, the progressive left doesn't want a shared experience, and they don't want any traditional values in America. They want socialism. And if you don't sign on to that, they don't want you to have any say or any power. That's what it really all comes down to. They're training these children in Oregon and California, North Carolina. They're not going to be able to make a living. These children are not going to be able to make a living because they're not going to be able to speak. They're not going to be able to write. They're not going to be able to do mathematics. They will not be able to do it. And they're not going to get into the Ivy League schools, no matter how much Biden says he wants equity. Ivy League is going to look at their scores and go, no. So they'll be going to community colleges where they don't know anything. And I'm not running down community colleges. I'm saying that this is a pathway to dependence. That's what this is. These kids are always going to be dependent on the federal government, which is what the progressives want. Last word.
Well, I think that K-12 schools are reflecting what's been happening in higher education for decades now. These critical ideas have been there forever, even since almost the turn of the 20th century. So these critical ideas are being taught in colleges. They have been developed there, and now it has trickled down into K-12. And that should be, as we look for what the next generation is going to look like, we need to look no further than the free speech riots and the violence on college campuses in recent years.
All right, Mr. Butcher, thanks very much. We really appreciate your time today. Fellow Americans, I am concerned about the U.S. dollar. Huge debt, as you know. Will it stay as the world's reserve currency? That's why now more than ever, I recommend you diversify with gold and silver. And the only company I recommend, and have for years, is American Hartford Gold. I trust them. I've personally done business with them. They sell physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA. And they make it very easy. So call them right now. Make sure you tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they will give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Since I have been recommending American Hartford Gold, gold shot up more than 40%. Silver, more than 60%. So don't wait. Call them now. 866-501. 5201, 866-501-5201, or text Bill to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201, or text Bill to 65532. Bill O'Reilly here. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe to the First TV YouTube page. Just hit the big red subscribe button below, and you'll get clips and highlights of my program, The No Spin News, every single day. We'll see you soon.